T-minus 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Launch Sequence Podcast.
A very special Launch Sequence Podcast.
We're doing things a little differently today. So, for anybody who's not watching the video, maybe this is live. I guess they're always technically live. Yes,
we're in person. Yeah,
I am here. I am actually touch AstroPub for the first time.
If I say something stupid, he can punch me. In reality,
I can and may.
Yeah, Honey might actually throw something at me because instead of just editing out stuff.
I might just flip this chair and walk away because I can do that. So we just finished CitizenCon. Everybody's still filing out. Folks are sitting here talking to devs, and the air is electric.
Hype.
The energy
is the word.
Is palpable.
Yeah.
There's so much to talk about.
I
don't even know where to start.
I'll start by saying there's something different about this CitizenCon, because everything they showed didn't seem like it was built for hype purposes.
Yeah.
Almost everything we saw was designed very specifically for how to put this. It feels like it was designed as part of the game, the stuff where you'd actually see in game.
Like a game was being built.
Yeah, or in the stuff that was just in the early stages. It looked like it was in early stages. They're like, yeah, it's in early stages. Here you go. So it's not something like we're dealing with like, oh, this is built like this isn't another sandworm. Is what I'm trying to say. It doesn't feel like another sandworm. It feels like it feels like we're actually going to get some of these things. And so that's where a lot of the excitement is. Of course, base building, and then after base building with a full rundown of Squadron 42.
Oh my gosh,
just nuts. So.
Yes. So going to the first thing you said, the gameplay elements. There are several panels. FPS. They had the panel that went over the space stations and the areas and showed some of the platforming puzzles. They had the UI one. They had some spaceflight one. Everything that we saw in all of these felt like, instead of just making a video about every panel separately, I can talk about how the features look like a game.
Yeah.
These are all things that I would expect to see in an actual AAA game, as opposed to something that's in testing and might be a placeholder. Some of the things that we saw here, I forgot were placeholder. The new things that we saw, I was like, that's right, it's not supposed to look that bad.
Yeah.
And things are starting to look good and streamlined. And I think when it came to the UI specifically, there are some questions about accessibility. People who have disabilities or trouble with eyesight, I think the new HUD design could cause some problems. But besides that, I just love what I saw when it came to the game systems. Interacting with things. The fact that we have physical animations for touching the buttons and everything.
Yeah.
That's one of those.
IK driven.
Yeah, that's one of those things that I know they wanted to do for the game, but constantly in my head I'm like, they're never going to get around to it. It's just not going to happen.
It feels like it was too much work.
Yeah, they have to build the actual game. We can't spend time on that.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's where all the Squadron folks have been.
Yeah, I think a lot of that's what this really was a lot of showcasing. Is hey, we've been working on this on Squadron for a year or two, so now it's done here. So this is what we've been working on. It's not like we haven't been doing it. It's just not been in Star Citizen yet. So
oh man. So let's talk about Squadron 42, and then we can get back to some of the panels.
Can I start off by saying I'm afraid of the Van Duel now? I was always, they felt like they were supposed to be the threat,
Yeah.
And they're like,
the big bad guy.
Yeah, but the end of that whole trailer was just I'm gonna have to shoot that thing in game in person. That
not even shoot. You're gonna have to fight it hand to hand.
Yeah, it's gonna come up to you and it's gonna be in your face and try to stab you with that spear.
Do you remember that old video we saw? We got a briefest glimpse of
them
a Van Duel sprinting. That was level 1 of development of what we just saw. Imagine what that animation would look like, and then the environments that they're in. Clearly they can make some creepy looking places.
Yes.
And I don't want to come across this game actually looks like it'll be scary.
Yeah. No, I mean, Dave Haddock is a big horror fan. And when we did an interview with him, I found that out, and then everything fell into place. And then with that last one, I was just that Dallas scene. I'm like, oh yeah, I can tell he's a horror fan.
Oh my gosh.
He's a big fan of Aliens, isn't he? He's a big fan of Alien and Terminator, because it feels like with the Van Duel the whatever the xenomorph from Aliens,
Yeah.
but like as unkillable as a Terminator. Like
Oh my gosh, the Xenomorph. I mean the Van Duel. I want to get to graphics, but I'm more excited about
yeah,
other stuff first. Oh God, what was I gonna say? I can't remember. Let's get to graphics then.
Yeah.
So the jump in the Squadron 42 graphics that they showed us.
Fuck.
What the heck was that?
That looks
I
nuts.
don't understand what that is. What the difference is?
It's
there,
lighting.
'cause
It's lighting.
That's all lighting.
It's all lighting.
Was that GI?
I think so. A lot of that stuff is the stuff that for Gen 12 stuff.
I looked at the before scenes.
Look
And
okay.
I'm thinking back to the 2017 demo, and I'm like, did it really look that bad?
Yeah.
But I guess that's kind of what it's like when we look back at old video games
Yeah.
that we thought looked good. We're like, wait a second, holy crap.
Yeah.
Because I looked at that and I was like, oh, okay, that's not bad. And then they showed the after, and I was like, we thought that was good.
Yeah, yeah. Like, and there's definitely, obviously, like there were portions of it where you can see you had Mark Hamill's face like while he's talking, and it looks kind of bad. And it's like,
and the lip sync was a little off at times.
That's obviously like they had everything there, but they didn't have the full cool
That's the polish.
And then some of them, you look at him, he'd be like doing Mark Hamillisms and everything like that. He's like, okay, yeah. So you can see that there's definitely different stages of development.
Yeah.
But there's definitely a huge upgrade, and I don't know. It just feels like Squadron 42 is the only game that's going to be that has dares to be 20 to 40 hours long and have an entire scene dedicated to coaching your mechanic about PTSD. There was, for those of you who haven't seen it, you should see it. There's an entire section where your mechanic is like, "How do I deal with this? You dealt with Vega," and it's like.
They kind of hinted at that, like you're going to deal with the people in their lives.
Yeah.
What's going on with them. The thing that I think surprised me most with Squadron 42, a game called Squadron 42, a starfighting game obviously called Squadron 42, is how much amazing FPS interaction and animation there was. The puzzles.
Yeah.
The environmental puzzles, the gravity-based puzzles, it felt like Space Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
And they had tractor beams. Like, they weren't just simple puzzles either. They were specific to the elements in the game, like the tractor beam and the liftable cargo.
This is the rope system. Like, that's the rope system.
Yeah.
That's the reason why they built it, was for these sorts of puzzles. And my only thought was when I was watching it, I was like, this is just Crysis. They just rebuilt Crysis.
Space Crysis.
With
Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's what how Crysis 1 and Crysis 2 had, like those little little gravity, little things that change around like that. It's like, yeah, this is just Crysis. This is the Crytek devs got a handle of a new game and just said, hey, we like Wing Commander. Chris, thank you for hiring us for your Wing Commander game. We're also going to turn it into Crysis. So now you're also playing Crysis 1.
We also have the Fire.
The Fire
from Far Cry.
It's
just
from Crysis 3.
Just bring it all together. Yeah. But yeah, the environments that we saw, like that one moment when they're walking through so many environments with moving things. The interaction with that canister when he filled it up with the hydrogen, all the clunks and the sounds, the animations, everything just felt so much more game-like.
Yeah.
I can't stop going back to that. And I understand, like, obviously this was not necessarily a vertical slice, but prepared stuff.
Yeah.
But this is what the game's going to play like. I mean,
this is their goal.
To this.
This is their goal. That's why they showed it to us. Like, they showed us the portions that they want us to see.
Right.
Because they wanted to show off different aspects. Like, a lot of the scenes where Mark Hamill or, the old man is just, it's like the point was like the boat or the combat or like the HUD. Like, it was all like different aspects that they're really focusing on, but they just had him there as that's the placeholder standard like animation they ran for Wildlines.
Yeah.
So, well, yeah, like I don't know, like I've been hearing, or we've heard kind of tell that Squadron 42 is going to be 20 to 40 hours. But after seeing that, I'm like, I don't know if
there was a lot there.
That doesn't feel like a 40. That feels like an 80-hour game.
Did you get the vibe that this was going? Okay, guys, this is going to happen a lot.
Yes.
And I don't mean to invoke this, but a game like Starfield, is a game where you will be with a faction, the military, right? And you're sent out on patrols. You're just kind of roaming around. Did you get the feeling that they're going to do that?
Yeah.
Like, they were just kind of out. They found some pirates and fought them. Like, does it feel like maybe you'll just have free time to go out with Mark Hamill and patrol the space and just get into random fights?
Have you played the first couple Wing Commander games?
I actually did not know,
so
I don't know that.
The first Wing Commander game is basically you go on patrol, point A, point B, point C. If nothing happens, you go back. If you run into something, you fight them. If you don't run into something, you deal with the problem and you come back. So it's all just a series of patrol missions.
Yeah, so
that's what we're going to get.
How would that be 40 hours, right? Because they're talking about a new system of space stations, right? We saw like unique cargo ships. Like what?
I just popped in my brain. Every one of those stations that is a atmospheric processor station, this is probably boardable because it's Chris Robertson. That man is nuts. So like there may be only one mission. There's only one like mission where you're going on a derelict like Atmo processor terraforming platform, which looks frightening by the way. Those star things looked terrifying.
The design language.
Yeah.
Was so, like
it was oppressive.
It didn't look human made either.
No, it looked like it was something like a Cylon ship from the Battlestar Galactica. So,
and I love that. Of course, they're sneaking in a little bit of the backstory there. You get a little bit of lore.
Yeah.
You.
Thank you. I hate all of you at CIG for making me do this because the next year is going to be me going, all right, who's Admiral Bishop? Who are the Vanduul? What was the Battle of Vega? You know, all these sorts of things. So,
yeah, I hear you have to redo one of your lore videos.
I hate you, Jared. I hate you.
Which one was it?
It's I actually don't have a Zeus video, which is
Zeus,
funny.
Yeah.
So I might actually have a Zeus video out.
Perfect.
But, so I might.
Now you can use that as the excuse to make it.
Yeah,
put that in the front of the video.
I'm gonna put the thumbnail as you're welcome, Jared.
Oh man, so Squadron 42. Let me think about more of what we saw.
I can add some stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
The thing that made me go Crisis was the like that FPS mode where like bits of the barrier being shot to pieces, and you're running back and forth, and you're seeing them, all that sort of thing. I love how it feels like an immersive game. It doesn't the way you looked at it, you see it. It doesn't scream at me like, oh, I'm playing a video game. It's like you are here. These are the situations you have to deal with. Complete the situation. It doesn't feel like a Call of Duty where it's like, this is the mission. Go from point A to point B. You know, go protect the burger town. Whatever. You know.
Everything was so dense.
Yeah.
Like all of the things that we were seeing, like the environments, the places with FPS fights, all of them were just, there was so much stuff in there. And you can interact with quite a bit of it, but like you said, damageable, it crumbles apart. It's like Battlefield almost.
Yeah.
You know? Like what we were saying. And now I'm thinking, something like this with a mixed arms, like what we saw in terms of FPS gameplay there, combine that with ships and vehicles, put it on a large scale planet with 60 by 60 player matches.
Yeah,
this is Battlefield 2042. What do you imagine?
Are you telling me that this is some sort of theater that has war in it?
I don't know, man. I don't know what a theater is.
Listen,
I don't know anything about that.
Listen, I made that prediction at the very beginning of this year that we'd see theaters of war at the end of this year. And I said I'm completely wrong. Not going to happen. And they made the announcement that they're working on it, so we may actually see some semblance of it in the near future.
Yeah.
And I mean, look at what we saw in there, and then I add that to what theaters of war is going to be. Put those two together and be like, this is. I mean, we didn't even talk about things like, let's talk about the stations or how it's basically Starkov. Again, with like the abandoned stations where you go in where PvE, PvP mix, where you go into abandoned stations and take things and bring them back. And
you're probably going to be able to find resources. They talk about items that you can find and things that you can earn through reputation that you can't get elsewhere.
Yeah.
That you can't buy.
Yeah.
A literal clap when they said that.
I clapped very hard when they said you will not be able to purchase this. You can only earn it in game. I was like, thank you. You're making a video game. Thank you. Like
It feels good, man. Let's talk more about like the gameplay systems themselves that we saw in the panels and stuff. One of the, I think, most substantial things that I felt we got to see was kind of, I don't know how to, like, feedback. Star Citizen, in my opinion, lacks a lot of feedback for a game where like anything can happen to you.
Yeah.
And between, damage that they were taking, they had damage markers showing the direction. The radiation damage had a specific effect. The radiation shield he talked about. Obviously the feedback, like when they were interacting with all this stuff with their hands and everything. But then you go more towards the systems with scanning, pinging. seeing how that's interacting with the environment and the environment is interacting back. Getting to scan something and know what it is. Getting to crouch down and like, I don't know, hide under the ambient noise around you because you're in an industrial area. All of that stuff is just, there's so much more, it feels more tangible when you consider those things. I love it.
Yeah.
What did you think of, I guess, let's start with like the feedback, the interaction stuff.
I loved a lot of that. I mean, like the looting, the new looting screen, just
Right,
it felt crisp.
That's
it felt,
huge.
Like, and you can see that in Squadron 42, where at one point he stops the loot and just like boom, 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 boom. Like, he obviously was QA tester who played this level many times or played this, used the system. So like, but that's like, I can see that. I can see myself getting that used to that. Pulling it up, bringing it up, just quick drop, move, move kind of thing.
And I mean, that's what really, this game is so difficult to play because you get in, even if you're having a great time, the server's running well, you get into a bunker, you kill a bunch of guys. Going around and looting them is such a freaking handful of an experience.
Yeah.
It's just awful.
Well,
and this looks so much better.
And then you have things like the new carts that they showed, where like you have one person walking and carrying the whole big sled and stuff like that.
That was very cool.
And then the whole like Team Fortress 2-esque UGF thing, where you go in, grab a bunch of stuff, throw it on a cart, and carry it out and load it up.
What'd you think of these? I feel like this was sort of a branch off from the underground, the UGFs. Mm-hmm. Like they still have UGFs, but they also have these sort of like above ground UGFs. Maybe they connect them together, but it feels like kind of the archetypal ground location, I guess, outside of cities. I don't know. Now we also have settlements and outposts and caves, but now we have like these massive ground centers. Yeah. What do you think of that introduction? Do you think that was necessary, or they could have put that gameplay somewhere else?
I love that idea. I think it's great, like, because it shows that they're not afraid to just go. Like, that's obviously a couple of dudes who are sitting around, I don't know, drinking beers or playing like Dungeons and Dragons or doing something together where they're just hanging out, and somebody goes, hey, we have this tool, we have these, what if we just slap them together? And then a bunch of people going, yeah, that's a good idea, let's do that. And then now we've got that. I mean, that feels like a lot of what CIG does is more of a, especially recently, has been a lot of collaboration between different teams, working together with ideas, and then just kind of rolling with it and seeing what comes out of it. And sometimes you get gold, and sometimes you get garbage. So,
well, that's what really this place, this show felt like. It felt like the time when the groups and the teams finally have hit a stride together. We've kind of seen this recently with like narrative and missions and stuff, but this felt like them saying, the engine, the studios, the development team, we've got that to our like 1.0 state. Yeah. We are now starting to build the actual game. Yeah. The raids, the rewards you get. Yeah,
that felt like a raid. That felt like a raid from Destiny. Like, go in, get this thing, get out.
It feels much more like this is based around the game rather than just building an environment to experience Star Citizen. Yeah. Because we've had Outposts for a long time, and they've never once hinted at feeling that it necessary for landing areas around that, for beds and that, all that stuff was super temporary. It's all placeholder. And now they're finally starting to shuck that off. And I mean, I was in there playing Pyro, so we know it is in a playable state of the game. I mean, it's just a matter of when that, gets released.
I'm being quite honest. I'm going to do my own impressions about this on my own, but then I know you probably are right. It's like, it's just what we have in Star Citizen, but now in Stanton, but in Pyro with some twists.
Yeah, I would say it feels different to be in Pyro, which is, I think, significant that they were able to do that just with the design. Yeah. Now we need everything else.
Yeah. The problem is that like there are some other aspects. It's very basic. It's it only has like 4 of the factions. There were only 3 planets. Yeah. It's very much like Stanton 1.5, I mean, the one thing, and I'm not going to talk about it too often, but there's the freaking solar flares. The solar flares.
Haven't experienced them, actually.
They were devastating. They will turn off your ship from full shields instantly.
For how long?
Forever.
So what do you do?
You're dead.
You
have to take cover and turn off your systems before the solar flare.
Is there a warning? I literally never saw one.
There's a warning that'll pop up that'll say, solar flare in progress, find shelter.
Wow. What does it look like? Why did I miss this?
It's like a flash. It's like a flashbang went off in your face.
That is cool. So just to put into perspective, I mean, like he's saying, Stanton, it is basically Stanton now,
Yeah.
which is a big deal. They're launching basically a copy of what we have, doubling the space.
Yeah.
There are new missions and new areas with new factions, which is nice, but things are missing. But I can think this can attest to the size. I spent 30 minutes of my 40 minutes exploring the space station.
Yeah,
It's
easily.
freaking huge.
Yeah.
It's like bigger than the cities in Stanton.
And you will get shot at. You will get shot at in those stations if you go to the wrong places.
Yeah.
They would just start shooting you.
Yeah.
Like, no questions. It's like if you spawn something, you spawn a ship, you walk out to the ship, someone's just going to start shooting at you as you get into your ship.
Yep.
Because they can.
And, you know, that's going to play into the reputation that they've talked about, which I'm so glad they got the reputation today.
Yeah.
I was hoping that cargo talk was also going to lead into the economy,
Yeah.
but they dodged that.
They dodged the economy.
Let's talk about the things that were missing today. I don't think anything that was missing really ruined it, but
No.
I definitely was disappointed at some omissions. What about you?
I was missing. Well, for like Squadron 42 perspective, it was great. It was amazing, but I would have wished for a smaller, tighter gameplay supercut.
Huh.
Because I think that's an easier sell. Put that two together in a supercut, drop it off it, show it to somebody with some cool music, and they would But
I do think that what they showed us is going to blow up across the internet.
Oh, it
I
is.
think it's going to get reported on and be called fake.
remember both of us when we saw the Starfield direct trailer and we're like, why are they cutting every 5 seconds? CIG did not cut every 5 seconds. That was several minutes of in your face. And when we said it was 5 seconds because of the problems, all the problems we said about the 5 seconds turned out to be true for Starfield.
You do start to notice things after you watch a couple minutes of the gameplay.
Yeah.
With this, which is funny
Yeah.
because it's been a buggy game forever. I got to keep going back to the fact that I won't say this completely solves the riddle, but this certainly makes the numbers working on Squadron over Star Citizen make more sense. And I'm glad they have finally made that a little more clear.
Yeah, it makes it much more clear about what's going on. The other thing I would say, the one thing that's really glaring out, as you said, is the economy, but also NPCs.
Yeah, AI behaviors.
AI behaviors. We didn't really get anything this year.
Right.
For it.
I was out in Hall B when they were going over NPC traits and stuff. I don't know, did they actually show that kind of stuff?
I didn't see it fully, but it's not one of those things I've been hearing people talk about a lot. So maybe I'm off because I haven't seen all of the panels because I was busy doing other things. So I could be wrong with that one. So tell me in the comments if I am, because engagement is important and it helps Tomato get more views. So.
Yay. I also was really surprised that they did not go deeper into scanning gameplay.
Yeah.
It's kind of strange that we're looking into base building and we still don't have like a solid foundation for scanning. I know they kind of hinted at it a little bit, but like the long distance probing they haven't really talked about anymore. And I don't know if we have a fully solidified idea of how scanning at the like 30,000 meter, the quantum boost kind of range works. I might have missed that. Be forgetting it, but I was kind of expecting to hear more about specifics of scanning and like scanning maybe features on planets, stuff that would help with exploration. Yeah. That being said, they did talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. I was going to say, there's not a lot of glaring omissions. The big one is the economy.
Right. I also wish they had talked about bounty hunting.
Yeah.
Where the heck is bounty hunting?
No bounty hunting. There's no mention of really refining or...
No refining, no hacking.
No hacking, yeah. But even though they had that little thing with like
Mark?
Remember those little pins that some of the devs had, and there was like the little quiz show that you had to do, like what virus in 2922 did. There was something one of the flyers.
I did not know that. No.
And it's like I was like, oh, that's hacking, and then nothing. It's just like, okay.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. Man, what else? I mean, I know I'm probably forgetting something.
We can't go over all of it because it is a lot of work, and
that
I
will
think
be the next 2 weeks.
Both of us are going to be going over in our own channels, probably doing it together at some point again, individually on some
We're going
of
to
these
be doing
things.
a lot on it.
Just because you're really going to have to like digest it. We just don't have enough time to digest everything we saw.
Yeah, I don't even know how long we've been going now, but I guess to kind of start ramping things down, I would like to go back to the very beginning of the show.
Mm-hmm.
The very first thing we saw was kind of what some might call a sales pitch for their game engine. What did you think of that? The meaning behind it and how it was presented?
It was good. It felt good. It definitely felt like a sales pitch, but it also felt like, hey, we want to show off the game and how the game works. So Disco Lando's walking by, so he might run in behind her because he's like that kind of guy. So
he's a very run behind kind of guy.
Yeah.
What about the animals, fauna, whales? What do you think?
Space
Do you think they should have
whales.
shown it if it's not going to be in games?
Yes, they should. Of course, they should.
Yeah.
Like I said, he's just going to show up and it's going to walk over here. He's going to walk up
ruin
and talk.
all of the things. She's just going to walk up into the camera and say, "What did we learn today?"
Hi, Mom. You come pick me up?
He does. He just comes by whenever I'm at a show after CitizenCon.
The statements and words of Jared do not reflect the beliefs of any Star Citizen content creators.
Yes. Thank you, Jared.
Thank you
get
for the
some
show.
rest.
Yes. The team, guys, if there's anything that was very clear here, it was how hard the team worked at all this. These people have been scrambling and doing so much stuff.
I'm going to end off my thoughts on this and saying this felt like an event.
Yeah.
Previous CitizenCons, as Big Bing did them, were good, but they never felt like a place you'd go to have fun. It was like, it was kind of part of the whole thing.
Yeah, I have never been to a CitizenCon, so I would have to. Was it a good smile? Was it a good one?
He's not going to tell you.
Was it the good side of my face? I mean, yeah.
Jared, what did we learn today?
Doing 2 of these is twice as hard.
Well,
Thank
we
you.
like them twice as much.
I'll second that.
Looking forward to next year, 3 days. All right. Yeah, agreed though. Honestly.
And there's Papa Freedom.
Papa Freedom.
I love you guys.
Love you.
Love you too, man.
So now we're at the stage where everything's going to happen.
Everybody comes in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was, guys, this is a little bit shorter of a show. I just wanted to pull Paul aside and get some good kind of fresh impressions of this. It all just happened, and I think we're probably going to have a lot more to say in the next couple of weeks. But thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
Please let the folks know where they can find you.
First off, I want to make sure you in the comments, y'all in the comments, actually write down what your thoughts are. We do read those sorts of things. There's a lot of stuff, and there's stuff that we missed that you thought was really cool. It's always important to put that in there too, because I've taken ideas from comments. I had a video, one of my Patreons was here and was like, "Hey, I was the one who gave you the idea about the javelin. You did it a couple like weeks after I said it." I'm like, "Yeah, because you reminded me I hadn't done the video about the javelin." So
awesome.
you never know what your comments might actually do in terms of inspiration.
I definitely do that too.
So please do that. But if you want to find me, you can find me at twitch.tv/TheAstropub, youtube.com/TheAstropubLive, and youtube.com/TheAstroHistorian if you like lore and other bits. So.
All right. And this has been the Launch Sequence Podcast. I'm your host, Space Tomato, post CitizenCon, first in real life. Thanks again for joining me.
Thank you.
I'll see you all next week.